My family told me I was imagining things. I believed them until I checked my security camera. It started with small things. A drawer I knew I had closed would be open when I came home. My curtains would be shut even though I always left them open. A book would move from my desk to the floor. The strangest part was that nobody in my family seemed concerned. My mother always had an explanation. "You're tired." My father blamed the old house. And my older brother Daniel would laugh and tell me I was becoming paranoid. At first, I believed them. I was in college, studying constantly, and barely sleeping. Maybe I really was forgetting things. Then my grandmother's bracelet disappeared. It wasn't expensive. It was just a small silver bracelet she had given me before she died. I kept it in the top drawer of my desk. I knew exactly where it was. When I couldn't find it, I searched my entire room. Nothing. I asked my mother. She told me I probably put it somewhere else. Daniel said, "You're doing this again." That annoyed me. "What do you mean, again?" He just shrugged. After that, I started taking pictures of my bedroom before leaving for college. Every morning, I photographed my desk, closet, window, and bed. 3 days later, I came home and compared the room to the photograph. My chair had moved. My closet door was open. And a photograph on my desk had been turned face down. I showed my mother. She stared at it for a few seconds. Then she said, "Maybe you did it before you left." I took the picture at 8. You could have forgotten. I didn't argue. But that night, I heard footsteps downstairs. It was 2:13 in the morning. I sat up in bed. One step. Then another. Then silence. I opened my bedroom door. The hallway was empty. I checked downstairs. Nothing. When I returned to my room, my bedroom door was wide open. I knew I had closed it. The next morning, I bought a small security camera. I hid it on a shelf facing my bedroom door. I didn't tell anyone. For the first time, I felt like I could finally prove I wasn't imagining things. The next morning, I left for college at 8:06. At 8:41, my phone buzzed. Motion detected, ****. I opened the camera. My bedroom door was slowly opening. I watched, holding my breath. Someone stepped inside. They wore a dark hoodie, jeans, and a baseball cap pulled low over their face. They didn't search for valuables. They walked straight to my desk. They opened the top drawer. And pulled something out. My grandmother's bracelet. The bracelet that had disappeared 2 weeks earlier. But what they did next made my stomach drop. They didn't take it. They put something else inside the drawer. A small wooden horse. I hadn't seen that toy since I was 8 years old. I stared at the screen. The wooden horse was unmistakable. It had a tiny crack across one side that I remembered from childhood. I had lost it when I was 8. My parents had told me it was thrown away. But there it was. Inside my desk. The stranger closed the drawer and walked toward my closet. They opened it. For a moment, they just stood there. Then they reached behind my clothes and pulled out a small cardboard box. I recognized that too. It was an old box of photographs. The person opened it, looked through several pictures, and removed one. Then they left my room. I immediately called my mother. "Are you home?" "No." "Why? Did you go into my room this morning?" There was a pause. "No, did Dad?" "No, Daniel?" "He's at work." I hung up. Then I called Daniel. He answered after several rings. "What's wrong?" "Someone was in my room." Silence. I sent him the recording. He watched it. When he called back, his voice sounded completely different. "Where did you get that?" "My camera." "You put a camera in your room?" Yes. He didn't answer. Daniel? You need to take it down. Why? Just trust me. No. I'm done trusting everyone. He became quiet. Then he said something I'll never forget. Whatever you do, don't show Mom the video. I felt cold. Why? He hung up. That evening, everyone was home. I sat at the kitchen table and played the recording. My father watched without saying anything. My mother looked pale. Daniel wouldn't even look at the screen. I paused the video. Who is that? Nobody answered. I pointed at the screen. They took my grandmother's bracelet. They put my childhood toy in my drawer. They took a photograph. My father finally said, "You need to stop looking." Stop looking for what? He stood up. Just stop. I laughed because I couldn't believe him. You all told me I was imagining things. Now I'm showing you a recording and you're still telling me to stop? Daniel finally looked at me. We knew someone had been coming into the house. My mother started crying. I stared at him. How long? He didn't answer. How long? About 6 months. My stomach turned. 6 months? My father said, we didn't know who it was. Then why didn't you call the police? My mother whispered, because we were afraid. Of who? Nobody answered. That night, I checked the camera again. There were recordings from every day. I went back through them. The stranger had entered my room 11 times. And then I noticed something. They weren't stealing things. Every time they came in, they left something behind. A childhood toy. An old photograph. A bracelet. A drawing. A tiny red ribbon I remembered wearing when I was little. They were returning pieces of my childhood. I opened the oldest recording. The stranger entered my room. They placed something on my pillow. Then they looked directly at the camera. And even though their face was hidden, I could tell they knew exactly where it was. They slowly raised one finger to their lips. Then they walked away. I froze. Because the thing they had left on my pillow was something I had never seen before. An envelope. My name was written on it. I didn't open the envelope immediately. I just stared at it. My name was written across the front in handwriting I didn't recognize. I called Daniel. He came into my room and saw the envelope. His face changed. You shouldn't have this. What is it? He didn't answer. I opened it. Inside was a photograph. It showed me as a little girl, maybe 6 years old. I was sitting on a man's shoulders. I knew my mother. I knew myself. But I didn't recognize the man. I turned the photograph over. There was a date written on the back. The same year my mother had always told me my father left. I looked at Daniel. Who is this? He stared at the photograph. Then he said quietly, that's your father. I laughed. It wasn't funny. My father died when I was little. Daniel shook his head. No. I felt my hands go cold. What do you mean, no? He didn't die. Everything around me seemed to stop. I had spent my entire life believing my father had died before I was old enough to remember him. My mother had told me he was sick. She said he didn't want me to remember him being in pain. She said he died peacefully. Daniel looked like he wanted to disappear. Why did Mom lie? Because she wanted you to hate him. Why? I don't know everything. You know enough. He sat down. Then he told me something I had never heard before. My father had left the family when I was 6. But he hadn't abandoned us. He had tried to take me with him. My mother stopped him. They fought. There was an argument. Then my father disappeared. My mother told everyone he had died. I couldn't breathe. Where has he been all these years? Daniel shook his head. I don't know. Then who has been entering my room? I think you know. I stared at the photograph. The man in it had the same eyes I saw every morning in the mirror. I didn't want to believe it. That night, I confronted my mother. I put the photograph on the kitchen table. She looked at it. Her face went completely white. Where did you get that? Who is he? She sat down. For a long time, she said nothing. Then she whispered, your father. Is he alive? She closed her eyes. Yes. I felt like the floor had disappeared. Why did you tell me he was dead? Because I had to protect you. From him? She shook her head. From what he knew. I waited. Finally, she told me the part she had hidden for 20 years. My father had discovered that I wasn't biologically related to the man everyone believed was my father. He had found out that the man who had actually raised me had been hiding the truth. And my mother had known. The photograph in my hand suddenly meant something completely different. I asked her one question. Then why has he been coming into my room? She looked at me. He isn't trying to scare you. Then what does he want? My mother started crying. He wants you to remember. Remember what? She didn't answer. Instead, she looked toward the hallway. Then she whispered, he knows you were there that night. I felt my stomach drop. What night? She looked at me with tears in her eyes. The night your father disappeared. I told my mother I didn't remember that night. She said that was exactly what she had hoped. I was 6 years old. She said children forget things. Especially frightening things. But my father had never believed I forgot. He believed I had buried the memory. I couldn't understand. What did I see? My mother wouldn't answer. Daniel walked into the kitchen. Mom, she deserves to know. My mother looked at him. Then she finally told me. The night my father disappeared, he had come to the house to take me away. My mother had locked me in my bedroom. I remembered suddenly. A locked door. Someone crying downstairs. My father's voice. Then a loud crash. I had forgotten all of it. Or maybe I had spent years refusing to remember. My mother continued. Your father found out something about the man who raised you. What? He found proof that the family had been lying about your birth. I stared at her. She wouldn't tell me the whole truth. Instead, she gave me an old box. Inside were letters. All written by my father. He had been sending them for years. My mother had never shown me a single one. The first letter was dated 12 years ago. The last one was only 3 months old. In the final letter, he wrote, I know she is old enough now. If she ever starts asking questions, don't lie to her anymore. My hands were shaking. He's been watching me? My mother nodded. How? He contacted Daniel. I looked at my brother. He looked away. You knew? I knew he was alive. You knew he was coming into my room? I suspected. I couldn't believe it. You let me think I was losing my mind. Daniel looked devastated. I thought I was protecting you. I left the house that night. I stayed at a friend's place. The next morning, I received another motion alert. I opened the camera. Someone was standing in my bedroom. But this time, there was no hoodie. No attempt to hide. It was an older man. He looked directly at the camera. I recognized him. Not from memory. From the photograph. My father. He walked to my desk and placed another envelope there. Then he looked into the camera. He said something. The audio was faint. I turned the volume all the way up. I'm sorry. Then he left. I drove back to the house. My mother was gone. Daniel was sitting alone in the kitchen. I asked where she was. He said she had gone to the hospital. Then he handed me the final envelope. This was meant for you. Inside was a letter. My father's handwriting. He wrote that he never abandoned me. He had been trying to find a way back to me without putting me in danger. Then came the sentence that changed everything. Your mother isn't the person you need to be afraid of. I read it twice. Then I reached the final page. There was only one sentence. Ask Daniel what happened after I left that night. I slowly looked up. Daniel was staring at me. He knew exactly what the letter meant. And he was crying. Daniel? He covered his face. I was there. What happened? He finally told me. After my father left that night, Daniel had followed him. He had seen him get into a car. He had seen my mother speaking to another man. And he had heard them arguing about me. My mother had never wanted my father to take me because she was afraid he would tell me the truth about my birth. Daniel had spent years carrying the secret. The reason my father kept returning wasn't to frighten me. He was trying to give me back pieces of the childhood that had been taken from me. The bracelet. The wooden horse. The photographs. Every object was a memory. He wanted me to start questioning the story I'd been given. Eventually, I met him. It was awkward and painful. He didn't try to convince me to forgive him. He simply told me the truth. He had never stopped looking for me. And my family had never stopped hiding him. I asked him why he entered my room instead of simply contacting me. He said, because I didn't know who I could trust. I hated that answer. But I understood it. Months later, I moved out. I kept the security camera. I kept the photograph. And I kept the little wooden horse. Sometimes I still wonder what would have happened if I hadn't checked that camera. I might have spent my entire life believing I was forgetful. I might have believed my family when they told me I was imagining things. But there is one thing I still can't explain. A year after everything happened, I checked the oldest recording from the camera. I wanted to see my father entering my room for the first time. But there was something I had missed. Before he ever entered my bedroom, someone else had already been inside. The footage showed my mother walking into my room. She stood beside my bed. She opened my drawer. And she placed the first missing photograph inside it. Then she looked directly at the camera. She knew it was there. She smiled. And walked out. I watched the recording again. And suddenly I understood. My father hadn't been the reason my family kept telling me I was imagining things. He had been trying to prove that they were lying. And my mother had known about the camera long before I ever told her. To this day, I don't know how much of my childhood was real. But I know one thing. The moment I stopped trusting my own memory was the exact moment my family got what they wanted. They didn't need to hide the truth from me. They only needed to convince me that I couldn't trust myself.
Subscribe Story Vault for more such stories.